Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel, and today what we are going to do is a little bit of port forwarding on pfSense. So I got a little presentation that I put together, and without further ado, I'd like to get it going. So let me log into the presentation and see what we have. All right, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. We have port forwarding and a pfSense through a home router. Now listen, I'm not going to do it today because it's already been done, but I took a few screenshots and I'm going to try to explain it as best as I can how we did it, or how I did it. The prerequisites is that you have pfSense installed and running, and like have it up and running and everything. You got your the appropriate rules set, because if you run pfSense without a rule, it's not gonna let any traffic through. So you need the basics running. Then you're gonna need firewall and NAT port forward and pfSense, and you're gonna need an automatic rule from port forward that's handled for you. That's why I put automatic. It's automatic rule generated from that firewall NAT port forward. And you need the home router forwarding the same port to the server that you have on your network. So we need to know right off the top, we need to know the IP address of the router given by pfSense, because you're going to have DHCP running on pfSense just to assign at least the router that's connected up the line a IP address. Then we need to know the IP address of the host. The port needs to be open on the host and listening. That means the appropriate software needs to be running, so that that all tests succeed, and that you're able to listen on that port through multiple devices. All right, so here I have a little network diagram here that I created, and this is just a general idea of how I set up my setup. Basically, we have the internet, we have the pfSense firewall, we have the router, and we have a switch. All right, so like if you watch any of my previous videos on how I'm set up, you'll see that I have pfSense, a router, and a switch. The switch is not doing any DHCP, but pfSense is doing DHCP to assign the router an IP address, and DHCP is being performed on the router and only on the router between the switch. That way, so that I can expand the 4 ports that I would have on the router, the 4 wired ports, into more like 16 or 24 or something like that. Who knows, because I got multiple devices, multiple PCs connected on the same network. So moving forward with that, so we know the IP address of the router. You would log into your router and you would see the basic information, and one of the basic things that you're going to see is the IP address that is assigned to it. And you can make this all like static IPs and stuff like that, but for simplicity purposes, I kept everything dynamic. But but I haven't experienced much change, and if it is where it becomes a problem, then I would set it to a static IP. But moving forward, this is how you would set up your net port forward in pfSense. You would need to know the interface would be the WAN. Choose the interface which this rule applies to. In most cases, it would be WAN. Just keep it simple. For this example, I'm using TCP and UDP. Um, I use the destination port. I select any just to keep it simple. It worked for me. They'll tell you in other examples to use different settings, and you could try this. Try it and see what works for you. There's no one way to set this up. There's a couple of variables that I've seen online. Then you got to set your destination port range, and if it's not a port range, just set it to a custom port. And I left this to other to keep it simple, because if you select the type, then it would select different port ranges for the different types of traffic that are listed. So from the previous slide, we knew that the IP address was 1.100. Okay. So you would enter that here, and you would select the redirect target port. Oh, wow. Okay, so my bad. I set this up as a range, so you'll notice the numbers are different. So I went from port to port, and then left the range, specify the port on the machine with the IP address entered above. In case the port range is in case of a port range, specify the beginning port range, and the end port will be calculated automatically. So that's what I did. And I put a description. This is not parsed. It's not important. You don't have to put a description, but it's really good that you do, because it helps you identify this rule further down the line. All right, this is the automatic rule that was generated as a result of that action that I did. And basically I set it up to pass. And there's only fields that you can edit, like the action field and the address family. And you don't really need to edit anything on this. It's already taken care of for you. If you're feeling advanced, then you could click display advanced and you could go forward from there. I'm not going to do that in this example, but if you guys do want me to experiment with display advanced and what you can do there, then send me a text, a comment, leave a something to let me know. All right, so now this brings us to our home router settings. You go into your home router and you set up port forwarding there as well. In this example, I just select the service type, and I put the external port and the internal port as the same, and I put the internal IP address. We don't really need to know that for the sake of this, but we do know that it's on a different subnet than what I have my my pfSense on, as you see here. So when you get your app up and running and everything on the host, and then you run the port forwarding tester, you'll see that the port that I want to run a port test on, 3120, is open, because I have that one set as open. And that's really in a nutshell how you would do it. I can't think of a better way, but it's the key thing is knowing the IP address in which pfSense assigns the router, and knowing the IP address of the host, and having the appropriate software running on the host and the port listening. If the port is not open on the host and it's not listening, then the port forward test will fail. And that brings us to the end of our conclusion of our program here. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment, let me know. If you want me to demonstrate this further, let me know. If you benefited from this, feel free to subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And also, don't forget to click the like button or the dislike button, whatever floats your boat. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time, and have a great day.